Hi, my name is Emily Turner with Retreat House, and I'm here with Gretchen Martens today, one of our authors for House of Courage and also the editor for House of Courage. Gretchen, thanks for being here.
Thanks for interviewing me, Emily.
Will you tell us a little bit about your journey to Retreat House and also your journey to becoming the editor for the House of Books and what that's meant to your story?
Absolutely. I think like most people, I met Lil and she just kind of draws you in. She's a wonderful force of nature. So I'd actually been to Retreat House looking for space for programs I was doing for the Dallas Fort Worth Charter for Compassion. And I just really connected with the energy of Retreat House and with Lil. And I was recently back from a very epic spiritual journey to the country of Bhutan. And it just sort of dovetailed into being a really sacred and safe space for my own spiritual journey. And out of that, let's see, it would be December of 2018. So I'm a writer and editor, and I have a very teeny tiny indie publishing company and just work with a lot of people that have more unique goals for books. And I was doing a workshop and Lil was there, and it just sort of, it was a God moment of what if Retreat House had a series of books. And immediately Lil just says, let's see, House of Love, House of Hope, House of Compassion, and House of Joy, just blurted out of her mouth. And so there it was. And so last year, 2019, we started with the books. House of Courage is our sixth book, which is a really awesome accomplishment. And for me, I love all my writing clients, but what happens at Retreat House is so magical. I mean, people just writing these very brave and vulnerable stories that just move people and help other people in their journeys, their spiritual journeys, working through grief and fear. And it's like I started life as an archaeologist, and I think these emails come and it's like you click open and you don't know what's coming, and then it's this magic, and then as you put them together, it just is this magical flow. And particularly House of Courage, which I think happens at such a poignant time in our country's history, it flows so beautifully. I really think it's our best book yet.
Well, we're so grateful for all of your work with the book and allowing us a space to express ourselves and really it's almost like a prayer for Retreat House, just all of these different contributions. And I know that you have also contributed and written a couple of poems for the book, so we would love it if you would read those for us
Absolutely. So
today.
there are two that just, you talk about how poems just kind of download to you, and these just downloaded. I mean, it was actually in the middle of editing and I'd written other stuff, and it was like, no, I'm putting these in because they just struck me as so timely. So the first one is it's called Soundbites on Race, from a white lady in the ghetto, and it's just little sound bites of things that happened when I worked in the inner city of DC. I'll take the metro to work, I share. You can't do that, says my black boss. It's just a mile from the metro station, I reply. Honey, I know your heart, she sighs, but you're the face of what's wrong with America. How often have the people in this neighborhood heard that? Let that be a lesson to me. I see them a block ahead, boisterous and unruly. Black men in the ghetto. Do I cross the street? No, I will not prejudge them, but I'm still afraid. As they part to let me through, I say, thanks, have a great day. I make eye contact with one man. He's clearly shocked I see him, really see him, and I am not afraid. The word on the street is I'm a narcotics officer. How else to explain a white lady in the ghetto? I meet the local kingpin. He's got my back, and I'm safe. I'm grateful. Is that white privilege? My dreadlocked boss introduces me to the Bank of America lady. Perky and blonde, we hit it off. We're invited to submit a proposal. How did you do that? Asks my boss. We both know how I did that, replies my Ivy League education. Every day, his mom looks at me just long enough so that I know that she sees me, and then she refuses to talk to me. How could I be angry? This is what racism looks like for her. Miss J had a huge heart in spite of the fact that she'd been raped 4 times. She knew I was a single mom, so she would get extra peanut butter for me when she went to the food pantry. Secretly, I taught her to read and use the computer. We met in the bathroom. The night Obama was elected, I brought champagne to my mom's house. When he was declared winner, my boss and I were on the phone laughing and crying and drinking champagne, and we all believed in hope and change. The next day at staff meeting, Elder B was crying. He'd been active in the Black Panthers and SNCC. I never thought I would live to see the day when a Black man was in the White House. And we all believed in hope and change. Every day she looked at me just long enough so that I would know she saw me. And then she refused to talk to me. The day after the election, she heard me talking to my boss. You voted for Obama? She asked, incredulous. It's the first time I voted for someone I truly believe in, I replied. I never thought I would be having that conversation with a white woman, she confesses. Now we see each other and smile, and we all believed in hope and change. You're so courageous, my suburban friends tell me. Am I ask myself, because it just feels like living life. A decade later, in the middle of a pandemic, race riots, and an impending depression, I ask myself, am I? Because it's hard today to believe in hope and change.
It's beautiful, Gretchen.
Thank you. And the second poem is called I Am Them and They Are Me. Where you find hatred, can you also find woundedness? Where are you wounded? Where you find anger, can you also find fear? Where are you afraid? Where you find danger, can you also find prejudice? Where do you judge? Where you find protest, can you also find difference of opinion? Where are you uncertain? Where you find shouting, can you also find frustration? Where do you lose patience? Where you find conspiracy, can you also find betrayal? Where have you been betrayed? Where you find resistance to change, can you also find conflicting beliefs? Where do you lack clarity? Where you find divisions, can you also find abandonment? Where have you been abandoned? Where you find apathy, can you also find hopelessness? Where are you hopeless? Where you find unkindness, can you also find brokenness? Where are you broken?
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me read my poetry.
Yeah, what a gift. If you could share a message of courage to the authors that you've worked with, what would that be?
I think to the authors for House of Courage, as well as the people that have contributed to previous books and didn't contribute to this one, and all those authors that are thinking about writing something, it's that there's tremendous power in sharing your authentic experiences. And people write about really difficult things, but that's how, in having that courage to share that in a very public forum, it's how we help other people to heal, to see other perspectives. And it's a way of doing God's work, whatever God looks like to you. If we could all do that, with what we call at Retreat House brave vulnerability, the world would really be a different place, a much better place, a kinder, gentler place.